Hi everyone, Misty here with Pixel Financial. Clearly still working from home, so if you hear some background noise, I do apologize. We've been trying to keep it quiet, but I think this is my 500th take on this particular video, so bear with me. First of all, I want to thank you for being my reason to put makeup on every day to get these videos done. I'm pretty sure I wouldn't put makeup on without it. But specifically, I want to say thank you for the overwhelming positive response and overall general enthusiasm for these videos. I knew that this would be a great way to get information out. I just didn't realize how powerful it would be. So thank you so much. I want to give a special thanks to Cheryl Tan, who took some of her precious time today to give me some pointers to help these videos be a little bit better for you guys. I'm going to start implementing things as I go, and hopefully as time goes on, things will get better and better for you. I'm definitely in this for the long haul. I think this has been a great way to get information out. So just hang in there, and I'll be seeing how I can get this better for you guys. All right, so today what I'm doing is an update on the small business relief loans that are available for the COVID-19 crisis. Specifically, I'm going to be talking about the PPPs, which are the payroll protection program loans, and then the EIDLs, the economic injury disaster loans. So I mentioned on Monday when I did my first video that things were going to change, new information was going to come out, better guidance was going to be given, and lo and behold, that has certainly happened on a daily, if not hourly basis. So even though you're watching this video and may have watched my video on Monday, you still need to be doing your due diligence to make sure you have the best information you can possibly have. The SBA has done a fantastic job of making sure that their sites are updated with current information that is easy to read and understand. So make sure you keep it as one of your top resources for information. So just jumping right in, I'm going to talk about the PPP loans. So there were some changes to what I told you on Monday. Specifically, I had said that anything that wasn't forgiven was going to be able to be paid off in 10 years at no more than 4% interest. But late last night, they came out with new guidance that says, nope, these loans are going to be paid off in 2 years with 0.5% interest. So yay for the fact that the interest is significantly lower, but now we have to pay it off in less time. In my opinion, this is their way of making sure that we spend this money on forgivable expenses and mind our P's and Q's there. So definitely keep that in mind as you're moving forward and making these decisions. Furthermore, they've given a little bit more guidance as to how much the loan is going to be. And that loan is going to be the lesser of 2.5 times your average payroll plus 25% or $10 million. Now, I know for a lot of the people I'm talking to right now and most of my clients, $10 million isn't even in the ballpark of where they need to be. So you're probably counting on that 2.5 times the average payroll plus 25%. And if you recall, that average payroll is derived from the previous year. So you're going to be using February 15th, 2019 through June 30th, 2019 to decide what your average monthly payroll is. Now, I've received a lot of questions about that. There are some employers who are seasonal employers, and they don't actually start paying payroll every year until about the March timeframe. And the government has recognized this and said, hey, yeah, just go ahead and use March 1st through March 1st, 2019 through June 30th, 2019, because we certainly don't want to water it down with 2 or 3 weeks where you weren't actually paying payroll. I've also received questions from people who are business owners and their business was in operation at the time, but they simply didn't have anybody on payroll. That didn't start until well after that time period or early this year. So they're trying to figure out how they figure this out. And there is no official guidance on this. So what I've been telling people is to use the January 1st, 2020 through February 29th, 2020 timeframe to figure that out. And that's what we're going to go with until we receive more official guidance on that. It's the most reasonable thing we can do at this time. So there are also some tax credits that are coming out, and that's going to be a different video, but this is something that you need to be bringing up with your advisors, whether or not to take the PPP or the tax credits. Now, there are some rules that are going with it, but you can't take both of these the tax credits and the PPP. So just something to keep in mind while you're moving forward and making these decisions. And then of course, everybody's like, Misty, I cannot apply for it. It's not even available to apply for. Well, that's because the application isn't actually going to be available until tomorrow, April 3rd. However, you can jump onto the SBA site and find a sample of it so that you know what kinds of questions you're going to be asked and what kind of information you're going to need to have available. So that's the PPP update. Now I'm going to go on to the EIDLs. So first of all, something I need to clarify with you are two things, actually. One is these EIDLs are only available to small businesses in states that have been declared disaster zones. So I am actually a CPA licensed in the state of Virginia, and Virginia has been declared a disaster zone. So if you're watching this from out of state, you're going to need to make sure you do your due diligence and make sure your state has actually been declared a disaster zone. The second thing that needs to be clarified is, and this is very, very important, is that there are two types of disaster loans. There's one for COVID-19, and there's just the regular disaster loans that are available for people who are in hurricane or tornado-prone areas. Some of you may have heard recently there are a bunch of tornadoes, and people are going to be able to apply for disaster loans that were within the path of those tornadoes. They'll be able to also apply for COVID-19 disaster assistance. So just something to keep in mind there, that when you're in there to apply for the EIDL, that you're applying for the correct one. And most of you right now want to be going for the COVID-19 economic injury disaster loans. The terms on these loans are going to be up to 30 years. Now, it's going to be decided on a case-by-case basis how much time you actually have to pay those loans off. So just a heads up that it can be up to 30 years. And the interest rate for small businesses is going to be 3.75%. For qualifying nonprofits, it's going to be 2.75%. Now, in terms of how much of a loan you can get, we're still trying to figure that out. There doesn't appear to be a formula for that yet. Now, there are some whispers out there that it's going to be 50% of your gross profit for the year, but those are just whispers and rumors at the moment. But they do ask you for your gross income and your cost of goods sold, which would indicate that they're talking about doing this for your gross profit. And gross profit is gross income less cost of goods sold. And for those of you who are confused about cost of goods sold are essentially expenses that you would not have unless a client walked through your door. So they go up when you have clients and they go down when you don't. So that's a cost of goods sold. Certainly work with your advisors on whether or not you can include certain costs in that. So just FYI, we still don't know how much you're going to get or how they're going to calculate that. The things that we do know are the fact that these loans are not going to be as restrictive in what you can spend that money on as the PPPs are. And the amount of time that they are available is much wider. So where the PPPs are really only available for February 15th of 2020 through June 30th of 2020, the EIDLs are going to cover everything from January 30th of 2020 through December 31st of 2020. So remember, you had to have been in business on January 30th in order to qualify for these loans. Furthermore, up to $25,000 of these loans is going to be unsecured, so you won't have to have any kind of collateral with them. And additionally, up to $200,000 of these loans will not have to be personally guaranteed, which is a big deal. However, the same rules apply in terms of whether or not they approve or deny you. So your payment history, your credit score, all the same things are going to feed into that. Now, if you are getting a loan for over $25,000, you're going to be required to have some collateral. And what they're saying is if you have none, you're not going to be denied on that basis alone, but they want you to declare any collateral that you might have in order to secure the loan. Of course, you all know that there is a grant associated with this so you apply for the EIDL first, and then you can say, hey, please consider me for this $10,000 grant. Now, what you guys need to know is that that doesn't necessarily mean you will get the $10,000. It means you will get up to $10,000, and I do not know how they are determining how much of that grant you get. So just a heads up on that one. Also, you can be denied for this loan or decide that you don't even want to take the loan upon approval and still be able to get the grant. So that's definitely great news. It's certainly something that I clarified today in one of my classes. Now, if you are denied for the loan and decide to turn around and reapply for it, you need to know that the loan will be reduced by the $10,000. And there's still a lot of confusion and question in different camps about whether the grant is in addition to the loan or an advance on the loan money, because the grant is supposed to get to you within about 3 days of the request. Although right now for people who have already applied, it might take longer because of the fact that they have 15 days to get this program in place, and we're not there yet. So just hang in there if you've already applied and you don't have it yet. And then it takes up to 21 days for them to approve and process the EIDL. So some say in addition to, some say in advance of. So I think that that's still information that we're going to be getting. It hasn't been entirely clear. All right, I think that covers it for my updates for today. I'm going to start getting other videos out about the tax credits, about unemployment, and other additional items. But for right now, this seemed like the most urgent need for the update. You guys keep hanging in there, keep on keeping on, and we will all talk to you soon. Thanks so much. I look forward to seeing you next time.